Hey, Scott,
Hey, Joe, how are you?
what's going on? How are you?
Doing great, thanks.
Good.
Doing
Nice to
great.
meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Happy Friday.
Yeah, happy Friday to you. We made it through.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
where are you located?
I am in sunny and just a little bit warm Arizona.
Oh,
So just
excellent.
outside Phoenix, cruising on our way to 115 for yet another day. We are
Wow,
20 something straight days of that mess.
man alive. That's
So
crazy.
it's a summertime Phoenix, right? It's what you bargain for the beautiful Decembers and Januaries and Februarys that we get. So it's our trade off. Just the opposite of those who suffer through the snow. Uh, I suffered through plenty of snow in my time. I'm from the Northeast and lived in
Okay.
Ohio, so I've been there, done that, and not looking to go back. So
Yeah, I'm
take
getting to
it.
that point in my life. I'm part
Yeah,
cat. I love the heat. I'm ready to go,
yeah.
So,
We've been at it for 15 years, so it's we're starting our 16th or in the middle of our 16th summer. We moved in July of all times to move, just crazy. But
yeah.
so yeah, it's now part of where we've been. It's actually for my wife and I, where we've lived the longest as a couple. North
Wow,
of yeah,
that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm in Kansas City, so I'm
I
going
saw
through
that. Yeah,
all the stuff. So,
yeah,
but hey, it's great to meet you.
yeah,
And what I would like to do is, before we get into your career as a host and your business life,
yeah.
how did you survive COVID? How did you survive the last 3 years? And how does it change the way that you do things now?
Wow, what a great question. And I am in the middle of reading a book which is taking me back to COVID. Ironically, it's a excuse me, it's a fictional story about a couple going through COVID and their story, and they're in New York City. I was not there, but going through it. COVID for me was interesting. I actually changed jobs in the middle of COVID. And it was the wildest thing because I was in one series of Zoom meetings, on a Friday, and then in a different series of Zoom meetings on a Monday. But it was, after having spent an entire career traveling around, and then having go and be in my house all the time, leading Zoom calls in the work that I was doing, it was a massive change. It took a minute to go on there. 2 days before COVID really shut down the U.S., my wife left her job. We didn't know it was coming, but she had just decided she was done.
Yeah.
We owned a small business. We had to shut it down for 6 to 8 weeks out here. It's a haircut and color shop that we had to take and shut down by order of the state. Yes, I'm a bald guy with haircuts and colors. So we had just had a lot of stuff going on. So my wife and I are pretty resilient. We adapt and overcome, but it brought some perspective into life for sure for us. But we also looked at it as, okay, this is a set of challenges that we just needed to work through. And if it required me to now work from home instead of an office, if it required for her to pivot and take more of an involved role in reopening our business post COVID, that's what we did. And we used that as, okay, this is what we're faced with, and let's make that adjustment. And the last thing is, what the ironic thing about all of that is that COVID forced us to make some changes in running our small business for the better. Changes that we probably should have made beforehand, but we were following a game plan that we had been given by our franchisor. And it just turned out that the way that we operated it post COVID was more effective and more efficient for us, and ultimately more profitable for us by taking some of the steps that we took. So that is probably the silver lining coming out of that is that we were able to take something that was a challenge and with a fresh start have a different set of eyes on how to operate that business.
There's so many silver linings that went into this time period. I mean,
Yeah,
it doesn't take away from what we lived through and how bad it was, but there were a lot of things that really did kind of, boost people up during this time. So let's get to the heart and soul of what you do on a daily basis. I'm going to put
sure.
you in front of third graders at a career day.
Yeah.
One of the kids
Great.
looks up and says, "What do
Yeah.
you do for a living?" How do you answer that child?
I help people who own their own business get a grip on that business. What do they really want to get out of the business that they've started? They had an idea. They had something they really wanted to bring to the world, a service or a product, but they've reached a point where they are stuck. It is not what they thought it was going to be. It's not growing the way they thought it. The people that they've hired aren't working. Maybe there's profit, not enough profit to be specific, that they're not achieving. And I try to come in and provide them some structure, some support, some coaching to get them back on track, get a grip on their business so they can move it forward in the manner in which they intended from the beginning.
So when you were in the third grade, what was your dream? What did you want to be when you grew up?
Either a sports writer or a general manager of a sports team.
Okay. So what was your team?
Boston Red Sox.
Okay.
So I grew up in Connecticut, so I'm a Red Sox fan to the core.
So let me ask you this. If you could go back in time and see any moment in sports history with your own eyes, where are you going?
I would have been there um, for the Sox when they won their World Series in 2004.
Okay.
When they finally broke through after the heartbreak of 2003, and they broke through and came back on the Yankees. It wasn't even the World Series win; it was the beating of the Yankees in 2004 when they came back from 3 games down, 3-0 to the Yanks and came back. I did share the moment. My grandmother was born in 1918, which was the year that the Red Sox had previously won the World Series. So she had lived her 86 years on this planet as a diehard Red Sox fan and had never seen them win a World Series. And I was living on the East Coast at that time. Those games took forever. It wrapped up around midnight or whatever night that was. And my first call was to my 86-year-old grandmother who was awake. And we shared that moment together. I wish I would have been in the stadium, but it was still pretty cool to see it on TV and be able to share that with her at that moment. That's my thing.
Wasn't that the one of those games was when Davy Roberts, right, did that stolen base and started the whole momentum?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened, right? Stolen base and then the hit back up through the middle and he scored from second. And it was just there. It still gives me goosebumps to this day. I can listen to the call. I've seen the replays and gone through the documentary and all that stuff. It is just it's hard because you're just a fan and in many ways you're cheering for laundry, right? Guys change teams and all that stuff happens, but for whatever reason, it sticks with you.
Yeah.
And it was a connection to my family. We were all Red Sox fans in my family. So it was a connection, strong family bond that we had. And certainly with my grandmother as well, because we shared that. So lots of conversations about the Red Sox. We could always talk about that, right? Whatever was going on in my life or what was going on with her. We could have that conversation, say, and she'd always tell me, oh, those crazy Red Sox, are they going to do it this year, right? She had that there, right? New England grandmother. She was born and raised in Massachusetts. So she had it right in her blood all the way through.
That's cool. So
Yeah.
who's been kind of a hero for you in your life? Who's been an inspiration for you to achieve and to get where you're at today?
Yeah, I'm going to say my wife. She's a remarkable person. She has achieved so much, and that's both personally and professionally. And she makes me better than what I was before we met one another. We've celebrated 30 years of marriage last November, and
Excellent.
she has been instrumental in creating two wonderful kids that we have. Right, we both play a role there, but she is their go-to and has done that. She's also been successful in lots of things. She's touched most recently, really helping us and taking ownership and taking the lead on our small business while she's allowed me to go and pursue some other things and really digging into that and getting it turned around. She had her own long career as the executive director of the Field Hockey Coaches Association and did wonderful things with that organization over 23 years. That's the job that she left right before COVID hit. And so she's really made a mark for herself and made a mark on me and it's truly my best friend. So I would say that she'd be the one I'd go to.
Excellent.
Whenever that conversation comes up.
Excellent. So if you could meet anybody alive on the planet right now and spend some time with them, who would it be?
Michael Jordan.
Yeah. Good choice.
As my guy, I grew up watching Michael Jordan. I'm a child of the 80s and 90s, right? I was when he came to pass, and I love hoops. Always have, but was never really as big a Red Sox fan I really never caught on to the Celtics in the way, but Michael Jordan was just the guy for me, as it was for many other people of my age, right? He was that to lots of folks. By the way, the Air documentary or the Air movie that is about him getting signed by Nike is really fantastic. They did a good job with it. But
Yeah.
I anything to do with Michael Jordan. My son is named Michael, if that gives you a sense. And
Okay.
if I'd had it my way, we might have. If we had another child, it might have been a Jordan. My wife was a little bit against that, but it's yeah. He just was that for me. What he was about, what he did, and all that. And look at all of our heroes or people they have some flaws here and there, but just gave me lots of joy watching him play. And I certainly never played anything like him. That was not my game, but he was always the guy that I loved to watch.
So did you see The Last Dance yet?
I did. Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah, good stuff, isn't it? Yeah.
I-
If there's Michael Jordan content, I've absorbed it. My buddies and I, when we were in high school, would, back in the day, I'll date myself, right? There was these videotapes running around. They'd cut these highlight reels because you couldn't get it, right? It was really the beginnings of Sports Center.
yeah.
There wasn't all this out there. So every year they'd cut the Jordan highlight reel from the championship season, since there's so many of them, whatever. And we would just watch him. And he had videos out there with his wins at the dunk contest or whatever. I just couldn't get enough of it. And I had all the, I was a kid in Connecticut and I had all the Bulls gear and all this stuff. It was just that was just where I would go to each and every time. Just so much fun to watch him play.
So for someone like Michael Jordan, obviously they have a high level of motivation that gets them through their day and gets them going. What is that for you? What's the spark for you to get through your day and to accomplish what you want to get done?
It's interesting. I've spent a lot of time thinking about this with the recent change into what I'm doing now, and it really it comes back to coaching for me, helping folks get more from themselves than maybe they thought they could. And I've dabbled with this all along through my career. I can point to a bunch of different places and points in time, whether it was in a business setting where I was doing some mentoring, even or just managing a team that I had. Actually did some coaching of basketball when I was in college. Did some youth sports coaching as my son and my daughter came through and doing their things. But it always has come back to that. And when I used to want to be this, and it was probably a little bit of an ego for me, but the common interview question, who is your best boss and why, or who is it that, has inspired you there? And when I would work with someone, my ego said, I want to be that answer for you. So let me see how much I can give of myself to have me be that answer for you. And yes, it feels a little bit of ego there, but I was willing to give of myself to do that and to find a way to hit home with someone and find an area that I could help them explore. And I can sort of remember people through the course of time that I've been able to do that for, and that's what really, really gets me going. And what I think is my purpose, and has been for some time, although I haven't always executed or lived that purpose in full. And so I'm doing more of that now than I ever have, but it's always been there. It's been a constant.
So what's your best client success story? What's one that you were involved with that always puts a smile on your face?
Actually, not even a client. I'm just gonna go back in time, and this is gonna go back. This is probably, I was maybe 20 years ago, but I had an individual that I inherited. I took over an operation and inherited this individual as an employee, and she was on the team, had expressed some desire to be a leader, but no one had given her a shot. And in many ways, I was told when I took over that this individual couldn't do the work that really needed to be done. And we had some transition, and I needed someone to fill a role, and I elevated her into that role, but I poured a lot of my energy into helping her get there, almost in the face of what some recommendations would be from others that had worked with her before. And I don't think she'll ever find its way to her. But her name was Colleen, and I know that her and I working together made her better than she ever thought she could be. She actually became the leader of that operation for me. And when I left that company, it was a little bit of sweet and sour. I left it in good hands because she was there. She was ready to take it on and take it over. I wasn't going to be there for her, but we had such an awesome working relationship, and I really saw that growth in her. And it was allowing her to be who she was, giving her the guiding hand to get where she needed to get to, and then giving her the space to go out there and put into practice the things that were there. And I think that's what she'd been missing. So many people told her what she couldn't do, and I gave her space to show me what you can do. And giving her that space, she really flourished. And I always think of that person and that story when I'm working with clients today. Where I'm like, okay, how am I going to give that space? What am I going to do? How am I going to be the guiding hand and not the teller, but the guiding hand, the facilitator, helping them find that within themselves, rather than me just imparting something that I think they should doing on them.
So let's say you have a dream tonight. You run into a younger 20-year-old version of yourself. You could give that version of you a piece of advice based on the life you've lived, the wisdom you've gained.
Yeah.
What would you tell that young version? And would it listen? Would that young version listen?
I don't know if they listen or not. It's interesting. And I don't know where this came from, Joe. And I've reflected on this. I don't know. don't know why sometimes you do the things that you do, but I was going to pursue my passion at the time, which was around sports. And I really thought this was going to be the thing I was going to do. And I don't know what shape or form is going to take, but I really enjoyed writing about sports. I did it for a long time, and I stopped doing it. And I wish I knew more why I did. I got away at that time from that passion, and that was a passion at the time. I think coaching's now become my purpose, so sometimes those aren't always aligned. But at that time, and I paused it, and I got into chasing and chasing roles, chasing financial gain, chasing titles for a while there. And it served me well. A competitive person, had some drive, and it got me there. But even when I got to what I thought was the level, there was always something else to get to.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if you've done so many interviews, this probably rings true. And it's not the first person to ever say that. And if I would go back, I'd say, stop worrying about that stuff, man.
Yeah.
Give yourself a break. Because I chased a bunch of stuff. It took me all over the world doing work, which was great and great opportunity. Maybe took me away from some things that I could have spent more time on, and from being more purposeful about that. But it was this chase, and I don't know why I did it. I've not ever done real serious therapy, but I've thought about it. And was it to show my father that I could do it? I'm sure there's something there about that, right? To demonstrate to him that I had this in me, and look what I can do. I don't know why there was. He never said that to me ever.
Right.
So did I infer it or interpret it, or just think I had to do it? I wish I really don't know what it is, and it'd probably take a lot of deep conversations to figure it out, right? But there was a chase going on, and I don't know why that chase was going on, and I spend a lot of time now not worrying about that chase as much, and trying to bring just more serenity to myself, by not chasing after the next thing. It's still there. I still have this desire to succeed, but it's much different today than it was 20, 25, 30, whatever age you pick.
So as you look back on your life, what are you the proudest of that you've done?
Our family, our close-knit family. So I've been married to my wife for 30 years, provided a nice, stable environment. I've got 2 wonderful kids. They've met 2 wonderful people. My daughter got married last November. Is a great moment. Father of the bride moment. Enjoyed that. She's met a wonderful person that's rounded out her life. They live nearby. That's been fantastic. My son is engaged. They're both living good lives, and I think we provided them those opportunities for them to really enjoy a solid foundation, so they could pursue the things that they wanted to pursue, and get their life started in the right way. Gives me great pride in that, and I give a lot of that credit to my wife and what she's created. But we did also partner up on a lot of stuff, and in providing that for our kids.
So everyone out there has a perception of you: family, friends, clients, colleagues, but you run the show.
Yeah.
What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I am evolving right now. I'm trying, because there's probably some perceptions out there of me that I've put out along the way that I'd love to not be that. I am type A, high strung, kind of get after it. I don't relax very well. That has what people would see of me quite a bit. I do enjoy other people, and enjoy having and spending time with a variety of different folks, whether it's work or fun, so that they see that of me as well. And hopefully you're the kind of person that people want to hang out with. But I want to evolve, and I want to be something more than that, and something that where I'm seen as giving back, and can be a voice of reason, and provide perspective for folks, and be able to give them a little bit different side of me than maybe what they've seen at this point in time, to this kind of type A guy, go after it, get after it. What's the next job, promotion, raise, et cetera, et cetera. That's not who I am anymore, not who I'm ever going to be again. And so that's an evolving perception, Joe.
So Scott, if anyone wants to delve further into your world, where is the best place to go on the web to do that?
Yeah, so a couple things. My primary business is working with EOS Worldwide. For those that are familiar with EOS, it's short for the Entrepreneurial Operating System, and is based on the book Traction. But in short, it is helping entrepreneurs get everything they want out of their business. And I have a website there. It is eosworldwide.com/Scott-Goodrich. That's a good place, but you'll find me at EOS Worldwide. Another passion of mine is hosting my own podcast, which is called Grow Your Damn Business. The Grow Your Damn Business podcast is fledgling. We are not nearly as experienced as you are, but getting things started there. And always appreciate a follow and a listen to the Grow Your Damn Business podcast. And that can be found on any platform, YouTube, same places you find your show.
Wonderful. Everybody run out, get in there and do the good thing. Scott, thank you for your story. Thank you so much for opening up. I really appreciate it. Best of luck with everything.
I appreciate the conversation. And Joe, thank you so much. Great questions and a great conversation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.